what's up? I'm Zoe. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about books that I want to reread. The concept of rereading a book was not something that I was always a fan of. I would read a book and be done. I rarely felt like I ever needed to reread a book because it was all up here. I didn't need a refresher. Once I knew what was going to happen in a book, I could not go back into the book without wanting to just reread my favorite moments, which felt like I was cheating a little bit. But now that I have gotten more into reading and I have started to see more of the beauty of rereading books and how sometimes whenever you reread a book you can find things that you didn't find on the first read, even if you do sit there and you annotate, or things that you will reinterpret differently the second time you read it now that you know how it ends. This is a list of books that I really hope that I can get to very, very soon. First up, let's get some of the books that I don't actually have with me physically out of the way. The Heartstopper series. I do not own these graphic novels at all. I would love to reread the whole entire series over again, because it's just so cute. And after watching the Netflix show, I really feel like every single time the season comes back, I'm gonna want to reread them just as a refresher, just to relive the love and how cute it is and just the growth and coming of age story of it. Another book that I do not own, well, more specifically a comic, is Ms. Marvel Volume 1. I read this in preparation of the Ms. Marvel show for Disney Plus, and I didn't like it. I did not really enjoy Kamala as a character. I thought that I just didn't click with her. I didn't click with her personality more than anything, and I didn't really like her power. I was just kind of like, huh, okay. And so I was just like, this is why I don't read comics. I just stick to the shows and just enjoy what I enjoy and just that interpretation and everything, and I just leave it at that. But then I watched Ms. Marvel and I loved that show so much. I think that Kamala is probably one of my favorite characters now. Iman did such an amazing job portraying her and bringing her to life, and really it made me sit here and say, yep, I need to go back and read those comics again. It was me. It was my fault. If something was off with me when I read them, and Kamala is totally fine, I just need to go and read them again. Alright, now let's get into some of the physical reads that I would love to reread at some point in the near future. First up, we have The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I know I have been saying for the longest time, I feel like I've been saying this all year, that I would love to reread this book. I even took the steps to get the audiobook, but then I was just way too busy to get around to it with work and things like that. I would really love to give this another reread just so I can annotate and just get more into the story. When I first read it, I was listening through audiobooks, so I didn't have a physical copy at the time to follow along with, and so I probably missed some things and some details and hints and things like that. But I really hope that on this second read I can annotate and I'll be able to just get lost in the world again and just, oh my god. This was just such an epic story, and by the time I got to the end I just remember feeling like I wanted to read the book over. The other one that I really want to read is Daisy Jones and the Six. I know that there's also a show coming out for that. My first Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and I was mind blown by it. I read it the first time without the audiobook or anything like that, but when I read it with the audiobook with the full cast, it was just such an experience. Every single time someone asks about reading a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, I always say read it with the audiobook, because that is going to give you the full experience instead of reading it just for the first time with just the physical. Personally, I just think it's just better that way. Getting more into the romance side of things, I would love to reread the Brown Sisters trilogy. Of course, I only have 2 books here. I still have not gotten around to getting Act Your Age Eve Brown. I have no excuse to not own that book yet. The thing is that I got the arc for it, and that's how I read it for the first time. Whenever I buy books, I just always am like, this is a book I'm going to read, not a book I already read. Unless it's Pride and Prejudice, I do not usually buy books over multiple times. I really just want it to finish the set, and also so that when I do my reread, I can properly annotate the books and you know, just look for things and see if I still love them. I haven't reread the series since probably the first time I read each of them. You know that Ravi is my book boyfriend. Mwah. Love him. That's my kind of man. I have a lot of romance here, so let's switch it up a little bit and talk about a fantasy that I want to reread. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. So this is a very, very iconic duology. I think everyone at some point or another has heard of this series, has read it, has been recommended it. It is just so iconic. I remember when I read it for the first time, I was just so mind blown. I did not think that this would be something that I would like. I didn't, and especially after the fact that I read the Grisha verse, is that what it's called? The Grisha trilogy or something? I don't know. And I hated those books. Listen, I hated them so much. So going into this, I had severely lowered my expectations after having such high expectations. Even though people said you didn't need to read those first few books to be able to enjoy the duology, I didn't listen. I wanted to be complete. I wanted the full experience. I think I read the first one at least twice already. I want to reread them just to see maybe if I really do enjoy them as much as I did the first time. Does it hold up? We have to see though. But I cannot believe I put these like highlighter tabs on this blue sprayed edge book. But that's the fun part of when you first get into reading. You don't care about things like that. You're just like, whatever, I'm gonna do what I want. And now I look at it and I'm like, ugh, why would you do that? No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. I do remember though that I didn't love Crooked Kingdom as much as I loved Six of Crows. And I kind of skipped through this one a lot. But I would just be very curious to see if maybe on second read I like it more. I'm excited for all of them, but this one is really dear. This is You Deserve Each Other. This is a great, like, is it enemies to lovers? Like, they really do hate each other. They're like in an established relationship and also hate each other, but fall back in love with each other. Oh my god, it's so good. I adore it. Maybe that's what it is. I love me some hate to love, enemies to lovers. I don't know. Something about this book though, it was perfection. I ate this shit up. My baby. I remember when I first read it, I started it over immediately. I gotta read this again. Gotta relive that and get that feeling back, because I feel like people don't know how to do this properly. Like, this is what I want. This is what I want to feel, and not a lot of people know how to do that. They always give you like this half-assed hate, enemies, bickering. Like, it's always just for like 2 or 3 chapters and then it's done, and it's like, no. Now this is a series and it might come unexpected to you, and it might not. I don't know if I've actually talked about these books on this channel. I love this series so much. It is the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy. I have reread these books at least 3 or 4 times at this point. I love the movies, I love the books, I love Laura Jean, I love Peter. Peter in the books is totally different from Peter in the movies, but at the same time they're both kind of like idiots. So I mean, but the concept of To All the Boys I Loved Before is just so good. I wasn't expecting to really love these. I wish we could get more. I would love to see what Laura Jean is up to later on in life. I don't even know if she would be with Peter still. I feel like the only way that Laura Jean and Peter could actually work is if they broke up and then got back together like 6 or 7 or 10 years later. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they would have to go explore and live life, and then if they came back together, that would be something. I gotta give it another read. It's only right. Next, we have a classic, and it's literally the only classic that I've read multiple times in my life, and that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is a really fun version that my friend got me for my birthday one year, and it has recipes. It's really cool. I don't know how to bake, so I don't really think I would be the best person to be like, oh, I'm gonna make the recipes in here. But like, there are recipes. Isn't that so cool? But it's a collaboration with Martha Stewart. See? but it's so cool and it's such a pretty cover, and it actually has the full story in here. Like, if I don't read it once a year, I'm not doing it justice. But the movie is my comfort movie. It does not leave my DVD player. It is one of the major reasons why I still have a DVD player. Read the book and then watch the movie and do like a reaction or watch with me or something like that. That would be so fun. Last but not least at all, because I love this series, Truly Devious series. Oh boy, I would love to give this one another read. I absolutely love Truly Devious. This is about a girl named Stevie. Oh my gosh, I don't think I like actually described what any of those books were about. That's so funny. It's a mystery series, kind of reminds me of Nancy Drew, but it's not exactly like Nancy Drew, but you know, gives that essence. Young teenage girl solving mysteries. And yes, the first initial trilogy follows her, Stevie, solving one mystery, and I absolutely love and adore. Like the first book especially, I think just knocked it all out the park. It's just so good. I read this so many times. This standalone came out last year. I had no idea it was coming out because I really don't see enough people talking about this series. It has the camp aesthetic. She's solving a mystery at a camp where there was a murder, and then all of a sudden there are more murders and it's like, what the hell happened? But yeah, I thought this was so good, so amazing. I finished it in one go. Addicting. Absolutely. But there is another book that is coming out later this year, so I feel like I have to reread the series in preparation. But that is everything that I want to reread, hopefully within a year. I don't know, maybe sooner. Let me know some books that you would love to reread again down below in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe and turn on alerts. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!
Only loving the dreams, baby.